Guys, if you're running a healthcare startup in the US or you know somebody who is, this might be very useful to them. We recently did a project where we're given $10,000 in order to get as many email addresses as possible for a certain healthcare startup. I'm going through exactly what we did, the test strategy, the learnings, and everything in between to ensure that we're driving business learnings for the business and the startup to know where they should be expanding next to in their business. What's going on, gang? It's your boy Jerry the Ad Wizard coming back at you with a brand new video. And today we're going to be looking at something really exciting that we've been working on as the Ad Wizard case study. If you are working in the healthcare industry in the USA, this will be very interesting to you. We were given a budget of $10,000 to go and collect as many email addresses as possible for a healthcare startup to test business validity and to see which state they should be launching in next. We did loads of testing, messaging, creative, landing page, and we're going to go through all today, okay? So stick around, guys. We're going to get into it today. Grab your coffees and grab your hats. It's time to spin out some ad magic. Okay guys, so we're here. We are trying to understand the best method that we need to utilize in order to get the cheapest email addresses at the best cost per lead in the areas that the business is looking to expand in so that they can generate signals based on where there might be intent and where they should be launching first. So the challenge is $10,000. How many email addresses can you get for that? In a space, typically like healthcare, where the CPAs, the CPLs, and the CPRs are quite high, right? So what did we do? What was the approach that we took in order to get the results that we did? So I know they're trying to look at 5 different states where they can roll out, and they're trying to understand which of these 5 states would be best to go roll out first. Okay, so we're looking at email lead generation in order to get those signals in order to then know where the business should be expanding to next. So what we did was we tested a bunch of different things to see which path we should be plotting forwards for the business, and then optimizing as much as possible after we've gained those learnings to double down on the things that work for the remainder of the budget. So through extensive testing, messaging, creative, landing page. Through extensive testing, we identified the most effective strategies when we're through messaging testing, creative testing, and landing page testing. And guys, I'm going to go through every single thing today and show you the results of all these different tests and the learnings that we had, the formula that we used that was the killer formula that led to our success. Again, I'm going to share that with you as well. So the first thing that we did is because all of our work originates from the customer. We start off with the customer. Who is the customer? What is the psychoanalysis of the customer? Again, we draw out a customer persona map so that we know who we're targeting. That informs the baseline of all of our decisions and all of our strategies if we have the people that we're making this for in mind. So that's the first step here, is to create a psychoanalysis of the customers so that you can identify pain points, desires, objections, and all those kind of nice things. This is really, really important to get into the mind of the customer. So here we have 2 ideal target markets, 2 ideal target customers, and we have broken them down into different interests, different demographics, and all those kind of nice things so that we can understand who we're talking to in our ads and how we can customize the ad journey for that customer journey mapping. And then guys, we need to establish the tone of voice that emulates the brand, that when any communications that are seen have a very consistent method of talking, and we have a bespoke way of talking to each customer, okay? Because each customer is different. They have different resonation points. They have different draws. So what we want to do is we want to establish this in the tone of voice document. And that's exactly what we did here. Create a really nice comprehensive tone of voice document. Again, understand as a baseline layer on which we can build our tests and that we can rally our messaging around for our ads. Now, another thing that we did for this setup is data tracking. Okay, so it's really important on a day-by-day basis. We monitor how many leads are coming in, what our different tests are doing, how effective they are, and to recognize and establish the best performers so we can double down on the things that work. Okay, so let me break down this ad tracking spreadsheet. Here we have the overall key metric state by state. Okay, then we've got the daily metrics. A lot of this stuff is going to be blurred out for confidentiality reasons, but this is how we report or how we track and monitor the data and the ad results, and we feed that back to the client. So they have this portal, they have this transparency of this dashboard, so they can see exactly what's going on, where the money's being spent, and what the results are on a day-by-day basis. Okay, so we've got the client sheet, the KPIs. This is like a really condensed, this is a highlight version of what you need to be looking at. We've got the daily metrics. Here, we're tracking a bunch of different things on a day-by-day basis. Ad spend, what are the clicks? What's the click-through rate? What's the conversion rate from click to lead. Okay, how many leads do we have, and what's the cost per lead? Okay, and then what's the most successful creative on a day-by-day basis, because we're testing a lot of stuff here, guys. We have a $10,000 budget, and with that, we need to identify what route we need to be taking in order to extract and maximize that budget to get the most leads for that budget as possible, and to extract as many learnings through this process as possible, so we can feed it back to the team so that they know for next time when they want to do any more expansions, want to do another lead generation campaign, that all of these learnings can enforce their strategy there. And we did write a really nice comprehensive report at the end of this, which showcased all these learnings, right? And this is something that the client really valued and allows them to keep those learnings and to build on them if they want to test again. A lot of this stuff is going to be blurred out for confidentiality reasons, but these are some of the key KPIs that we are monitoring. And then the things that I'll go into at the end is the CPL graph, right? So I've plotted the cost per lead in a graph, and then the projection so that we can see if we were to have additional spend, this is where we can get to. So this is an additional piece around the projections around where the campaign can go after the $10,000 budget has been spent. So I'll go through that at the end. And then we've got a best performing content tab where we've just reinforced, the best performing content there and showcased it so that the client knows exactly what's worked well. So this is a kind of a nice data tracking spreadsheet that we spun up for the client. As I mentioned in previous videos, you click the card at the top if you want to see add data tracking and the best practices for that. I've even got a free spreadsheet that you can download and use as a template. If you want to go and set this up for your clients or your business, you can use that template and adapt it for your business objectives and for your business KPIs that are important to the bottom line of your business. Okay, guys, now we're in the testing stage of things. So we have the baseline layer. We have who we're targeting, the tone of voice. We have tracking set up so that we can monitor and optimize around the key KPIs that we're trying to measure for. Now comes the testing phase. 3 things that we want to be testing. 1, messaging. This is the kind of top level, right? What messaging is going to resonate best that we can create creative around and create landing pages around, right? So this is the top level. We tested loads of different angles, guys, right? You're looking at your customer persona models, and you're seeing what are some different pain points that you're looking to solve for them. Okay, your business should be a solution for those pain points. Okay, so what pain point is the biggest hook for somebody to be interested in this business? Okay, we need to test different angles. We need to test different draws. We're not sure which one it could be, so we had to test a lot of different things. These are just some examples here. We tested a lot, but through identifying the best performing messaging, we were able to pick out the top 3. Then we use the top 3 messaging to create creative, to create landing pages. So this is the first step to understanding signal base, to test signals in a new area. Okay, is to understand the messaging that's going to resonate well with those people, and then create creatives and landing pages and all that kind of nice things alongside that. So here's some of the messaging that we tested. Some other things, because it was a healthcare-based company in the US. Obviously in the US, we have healthcare insurance, right? So, and on Meta, we can target different healthcare providers in the detailed targeting interests, which is interesting. If you don't know that, go in and type in Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, all these kind of main big companies. There's still targetable interests on Meta, guys. So go and check this out, okay? We tested this as well. We tested the audiences, okay? Some were broad, some were niche. Within this insurance-specific test, we're looking at if we spoke to members of Blue Cross Blue Shield about how this service is applicable through insurance, will that resonate with that target market? If we make it hyper-specific, hyper-personalized, what will happen? And this is also something that we tested. Okay, so there's loads and loads of tests going on. We did insurance-specific based messaging tests as well to see, we tried Humana, Sigma, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, United Healthcare, the big healthcare insurance companies in the US. Some of them are available to be targeted as interests in the Meta Ad Manager. So we did that, and we targeted bespoke messaging to each insurance provider, to the people that have that insurance, to see if we can personalize this. Hey guys, we're speaking to you. We know that you're a Blue Cross Blue Shield member. This ad is for you. Did you know that this service is available through insurance? Okay, so we're doing hyper-specific targeting and messaging like that. Through that, we're able to identify the top 3 angles. Okay, these were the 3 angles that we doubled down on, and that informed most of the creative direction and most of the landing page direction and messaging direction that we went down to. Okay, so we A/B tested all of these different messagings, and we established the top 3 that would work well for this. Cool. Now the next part, guys. So something else that we do for our clients to organize our creative, our ad copies, all those kind of nice things, is that we create an ad reference guide. We call it an ad reference guide. The ad reference guide looks something like this. We have all the links to the creatives. We track everything in this ad reference guide. And here we can see some of the creatives that we use. Again, I'll blur out the name of the client for confidentiality reasons. And then beneath that are all the different types and variants of copy that we tested. And the types of creatives that we tested was image-based static ads, using visual aspects to demonstrate the service so that people know exactly what the service is straight away. Imagery recognition. We made some bespoke UGC and we paid an actress to talk about the service and gave her a script that entices the target market to sign up and leave their email address. And we did some animation-based video ads. So we did UGC video, animation-based video, static image ads, and a variety of different styles, us versus them, looking at some ugly ad designs, looking at some visual imagery of the service, all those kind of nice things, guys. Okay, so we tested a variety of different creative here as well. And so this is how we organize our ads before we go and implement them into the ad manager, and it allows the client to see the type of ads that we're running and the type of creatives, links to all the creatives, all those kind of nice things. So this is the next step. Okay, so we created loads and loads of creatives to test on the messaging angles that worked really well. And here on these creative, we're specifically focusing on the top of funnel pain points and why this company is the solution to those pain points. We're focusing on the top 3 messaging angles and then looking at those pain points and testing different hooks within those. So the rollout for it was after we established those, that's when we started generating a lot more different creative styles, like the UGC, for example, or the animation video, for example. We identified the angles, then the creative hooks, and then used those to make more creative, right? So we had to test a little bit first. And then when we got those learnings, we created more creative that we then tested. And mixing a variety of image and video assets is really, really important that you're testing, because this is another thing that we did try to do was we just tried testing image ads, right? And the results weren't as good. You need a multimedia collection. You need video, you need UGC, you need static image ads, you know, animation, all these kind of things work together in the different placements. So Meta and Instagram can go and put your ads into the various different placements and with the various different styles as well. Now, one thing that was really, really important to bear in mind with this is that everything, all of the creative, was applicable across all placements. If you are not doing this, I'm going to link a card up in the top right-hand corner, which tells you what ad size do I need to maximize my one creative across all different placements. Square is obviously really good for desktop. The 1800 by 1350 is slightly higher. Video is really great for mobile and feed. And then we've got the 1920 by 180, which is like the story size. This is also really good for mobile. So you want to make sure that your creative, when it's cropped in those various different sizes, can be placed across everywhere, so you don't have different ad sets for different placements and all those kind of things. So that's also something that we did here to ensure that we're maximizing our creative. We only need to make one creative for each placement versus making loads of different sizes and all that kind of stuff. So that was also really important for our creative testing. Now, guys, I'm going to go through the first landing page that we tested. Okay, this is the type form. Some of you guys may know a type form. Okay, a type form here you can click through. It's a responsive form. So as you type in the answers here, okay, it's a responsive lead gen form. Okay, you're typing things in. There's one type of platform that we did test across 4 different other landing page services. Okay, so that was the process there. As you can see, really nice, really easy to kind of go through and submit your lead details. So that was nice to build that. We now are testing the landing pages. Okay, it's a first step for the landing page tests, and Typeform was the first one that we tested. Just walked you through the form there so you could see it yourself, but really simple, guys. What state are you in? What's your email address and what's your name? Okay, it's a really low barrier to entry for somebody to add in their lead details. So the second platform, guys, I'm just going through this here. This is the landing page. Okay, this is from Lovable. Lovable is really nice and really easy to set up. Actually, it uses AI and a prompting system whereby you can design the landing page based on the prompts that you're feeding in the AI system. So this service uses AI, and here you can see the amazing landing page that they came up with in literally about 5 minutes, guys. Like, we just prompted it in exactly what we needed to add in here. It's quite basic in terms of the layout and things like this, but okay, and it has everything that we need to validate whether or not Lovable is a good landing page to test and to double down on. What's really good with this and with Lovable is that the conversion tracking is also super, super easy. If you just add into the AI system, add in this conversion event, you just type in the conversion event that you want where, and it just does it for you, guys. This is a fully interesting service because you can maximize the use of AI in order to create your landing page. So it was a really easy test. We A/B tested this along with the other landing pages. This was a nice one. We really enjoyed using this one here. As you can see here, I'm just going to test the pixel helper to make sure it's firing. Yeah, and lead's firing. We're optimizing for lead generation. That is the main thing that we want to optimize for. Lead is coming up there and the pixel ID is showing nicely. And all this stuff was added in just through prompting an AI system. So I really like Lovable. It was a really easy to work with. But before we go anywhere else and you're new here, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss any more important updates. We are here many times a week to help business owners, online advertisers, and digital marketeers get the best from their online advertising, paid media, and digital marketing strategies. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. Now guys, the next landing page service that we were toying around and testing was on a service called Unbounce. Unbounce is a landing page service. It doesn't have the AI tool, so you have to kind of build it manually, but it's quite nice. It's quite expensive, but yeah, we had a free trial. We tested it in that free trial space and realized that this wasn't actually the best platform for us to do email generation, but this is exactly how it's laid out. Very similar to the other landing pages. We're looking for 3 data points here, guys: the name, the email address, and what state you're in. Okay, that's it. If you add in more fields, there'll be more barriers to entry for somebody to add in their email address, meaning that the cost per lead will be higher. It can be argued that that lead quality will be stronger, but in this case, we're looking for lead volume versus lead quality, and these 3 data points are the minimum that we need to validate, okay, a good quality lead without going and adding in those additional barriers to entry. These 3 data points are enough for the lead to be valuable, but not super loads that, they're entering loads of details about themselves to submit their lead details. That is a big blocker and barrier to entry for people, and you'll find that the cost per leader is a lot higher if you do experiment around with that. So we did test that as well, and those 3 data points are the main ones that we need to focus on. So here you can see on the landing page, we put a little badge on there, available with Blue Cross Blue Shield. We did that with also different insurance companies, so we could tailor that insurance specific messaging and that journey on the landing pages as well. So when somebody clicks on the ad, available with Blue Cross Blue Shield, they click on the landing page, Blue Cross Blue Shield, now available. So, really tightening up that ad journey and making it really cohesive, making it slightly personalized as well based on the insurance, obviously, that you're with, and ensuring that there's a seamless flow between ad click to a landing page to thank you page, right? So yeah, using insurance specific messaging around that as well. So this is the landing page that we use for Unbounce. It wasn't as successful. Lovable was more successful in terms of the CPL. So once we tested this and realized that, we pivoted away and went on to the next test. Okay, this is the next test, guys. And actually, the winner of all the landing page tests that we found out on all the different landing pages that we tested, this is the winner, guys. This is the one that gave us the best cost per lead. Okay, and the maximum cost per lead. Now, cool, guys. Now, the final test that we ran for landing pages, the 4th landing page that we test, okay, it was a meta instant form. So this wasn't driving traffic externally to another service or another URL. We are keeping people on platform, and we're getting people to submit their lead details through a lead generation form. Now, if you guys don't know, a lead generation form is a form. When you click on the ad, it pops up, you stay on Meta and you type in your details, or you can customize the form based on the different details that they type in. You can actually use additional conditional logic as well. But here we set up a simple lead gen form, and guys, this is a big learning that because healthcare, as you guys might know, in the US is subject to quite vigorous data tracking laws. It's quite difficult. You need to sometimes within a healthcare company use external third-party tools for data tracking and things like this. With an instant meta form, you don't need to worry about tracking. You don't need to worry about your pixel. You don't need to worry about all these things. Everything stays on platform. All those kind of things is completely eradicated if you use a meta instant form. So if you have a healthcare service or maybe you have a healthcare business in the US, the meta lead gen form works really, really well, not just for the conversion figures that we see. The cost per lead was really good, really nice. It was the best cost per lead that we got out of all of the different landing page tests. But because also you're not having to worry about pixel tracking, attribution, and all those things, it means that you actually solve yourself 2 headaches there, right? A nice cost per lead, and I don't need to worry about attribution settings or pixel settings, or am I legally allowed to do these things? Okay, that's where this is really, really good. And this drove us to the best results. So I'm just going to show you. It's super simple, guys. The name is populated through the Facebook name of the profile of the person that submitted it. So the only thing that we're really asking here is the email address, right? Email address, and then do you submit to the privacy policy? And we have to make sure that we're HIPAA compliant and all those things. There's no additional bits and pieces to this. We kept it super, super simple. We did try different instant forms. This one was the best one. And what happens when you click through on the end is obviously a thank you page, and then you can visit the website as well. So when they visit the website, we can also hit them up with retargeting and remarketing. This worked really well for us, guys. Instant lead form, okay, which we also used the brand new integration feature click this card up in the top left-hand corner if you want to know how that works, that you can fire leads directly into a spreadsheet without using a third-party service like Zapier in order to do that. There's a brand new feature that has come out on Meta. And if you want to know how to do that, you can hit the card up below. It's exactly what we did here with this client. Now, guys, what was the result of all of this? All of these testings? We've gone through messaging testing, creative testing, landing page testing, all these kind of things. And now we have developed the best formula for success for this company. Okay, through all these A/B tests, then we're able to say, hey, through this direction, we should be allocating the rest of our spend to go and double down and get as many leads as possible at the cheapest cost per lead. Okay, that's the thing that we're ultimately looking for. So all this testing has resulted in that. Here are the results for the landing pages. Okay, I'm not going to add in the cost per lead for these. However, these are the top 4 landing pages that we tested in the order of results that we achieved. Okay, so Meta Instant Forms, number 1, they did the best. They had the most leads at the best cost per lead. Lovable, the landing pages for Lovable, like I said, the AI version was really, really nice. Actually gave us quite a good result, not as good as the Meta Instant Forms. The Unbounce landing pages didn't give us as great results. That's where we also tested the insurance-specific messaging, okay? And we also didn't see as great results there, which is interesting because we're being hyper-specific and hyper-personalized. That's a really interesting strategy to target insurance-specific targeting with insurance-specific messaging, okay? It's really highly personalized. So I have, in other companies and other healthcare companies, we tried this, it has been successful. So in this particular test, it wasn't, but I do highly encourage and endorse anybody go and make these tests and run these tests for themselves and let me know what results you see. Maybe you see something different to what I see. And the 4th one is the Typeform landing page, right, that I went through and demonstrated to you guys. So in terms of where we got the best results, the Meta Instant Forms was the winner for the landing page. Now, state by state targeting, I'm actually going to blur this out because these are the results of where the company will probably be rolling out their business expansions in these new states. These are the top 3 states. That's what we're trying to identify. Where is their signals, where we can expand, where is their hunger for our service, where people need the solution to the pain point we're trying to solve. So I'm going to blur this out because this is, again, a bit confidential. This is the results for the company. These are the 3 top states that we recommend going after based on the cost per lead and the type of resonation that we were able to see for our ads and the type of cost per lead and all those kind of things. So, okay, guys, but now, before I go through the final winning formula that absolutely skyrocketed our results and our cost per lead and the things that we really doubled down on after all this testing, I just wanted to go through some tips and tricks of things that we kind of learned through the way, okay? Some things that you may know, some things that we did know, and we learned through these within this campaign as well. But I just wanted to kind of touch on those things, some additional learnings for you guys. Okay, so what's the ideal daily ad spend? I might actually make a whole video on this because there's a lot of people that say, how much should I spend on my ads? Well, let me tell you how Meta sees ad spend. Speaking with Meta, having a connection with somebody at Meta, what's the ideal daily ad spend? Well, you could be saying, hey, how much do I spend, man? Let me tell you something, guys, okay? What Meta says is if you're spending around $50 a day, you're not being too serious with this. That is actually the base mark. And I'm going to make a whole video on this, I think, because it's an important topic. If you're spending $100 a day on one ad set, okay, on one test, Meta knows that you're being a bit more serious. So $100 minimum on each ad set. If you want to see some good results. Now, if you don't spend much at all, your cost per results are going to be quite high. What's the ideal? Well, if you can spend over $150 a day on each ad set, that is the ideal. Okay, that will give, depending obviously the audience size within this, we tested different audiences, broad as well. Broad was the biggest one that we tested, well, the biggest one that we utilized. But from Meta themselves, they say that if you don't spend at least $150 per day on each ad set, they won't take you seriously. Okay, it's all about your ability to be able to bid in the auction system for your ad placements. If you have really low budgets for this, you don't have the ammunition to go and bid for that ad space where other companies who are spending more are able to bid for that, right? So their ads are going to get shown more because they're spending more, right? Don't ever cut yourself short by underspending on some of these tests in order to not get the maximum learnings and the maximum efficiency out of your ad spend going forward. So that's one piece of really key information, guys. When we did actually lower the spend, there was a lot of experimentation around the spend, and these were some of the things that we learned. We spoke to Meta as well, and they said that they were the ideal spending limits for something like this. So that's something to bear in mind, guys. Okay, now, interest targeting hitting a ceiling. At one point, the client came up to us and said, well, here's a problematic area, right? Well, here's something that I'm kind of thinking through. If the cost per lead goes up, surely we would have hit the maximum amount of people that we can in that space with that messaging and that targeting, right? Like that there's not an expansive audience that we can tap into, that maybe we hit the ceiling. Maybe when we get 10,000 emails from this one state, we hit the ceiling and we won't find any more. Well, guys, the answer I have for this is kind of simple, but it kind of ties into the previous way of thinking and working with ads. So before, we would use interest-based or custom audience or targeting with our audiences that are based on certain interests. Now, these are limited, okay, because there's only a certain amount that Facebook can kind of see the people that are interested in. There's a certain size, there's a certain pool size of the audience. When you have Advantage Plus turned on your audiences, so you give Meta the chance to expand the audience, to go and find new audiences if the results are coming in, this means that you're not focusing on such a small pool of people, that you're expanding out, and actually that hitting a ceiling doesn't happen. If it did happen, the argument is to be said that the business proposition isn't as in demand, isn't as wanted, right? But if you're solving a problem and that problem is widespread, okay, it's all about then getting new people into that pool, right? Getting people aware that there is a problem, okay, and then you're the solution. So then you have to do more brand awareness stuff. So this idea of hitting a ceiling, if you're just targeting one audience group all the time and you're not expanding it and you're not bringing in new people for top of funnel and all those kind of things, of course, you probably will hit a ceiling, right? But the idea is that you can create demand, you can create interest around the pain points that you're solving and bring new people in. So the targeting is expansive because we have Advantage Plus audience turned on so that it's broad. We're giving a lot of power and leverage for Meta to go and find us who is going to resonate with this business. And we're using creatives to optimize for that targeting and not the targeting settings at the ad set level. More erroneous than ever. So that was an interesting point and something that we thought was quite cool to talk through actually, because this might be something that you guys are thinking about or other business leaders are also thinking about. There's only a certain amount of people. Like once we extract all of the leads from those people, what then? As though, well, you have to keep growing that audience. You have to keep growing the awareness around these things, right? And that idea of the ceiling, I don't think is as applicable here when you have broad audiences, when you have broad expansive audiences. So that was an interesting learning as well. Now, something that advanced ad managers endorse, and they do say, let's try testing these things. And we did try testing these things, is adding in bid caps at certain levels that you're willing to pay for your target CPA. So, or target CPL in this case. The bid cap tests in our case, when we're running Meta instant forms, weren't successful, guys. Okay. And sometimes bid caps can work really, really well. In this example, they didn't. We did A/B test around this and they just weren't as successful. But I'd love to hear if you guys are bid caps and it's been working well. I always recommend testing it after you get to a certain level. Test these, to always test the bid caps to see if you can get even better CPA, right? So if you're getting down to a certain level, you can test the bid cap by saying, this is the next step that I want to optimize for, and see if Meta can give you those results. In this case, it wasn't successful, but I'd love to hear if you have utilized bid cap tests and it has been working for you. I'd love to hear about it, because a lot of the time it does work really nicely. Within this example, it didn't. So that was a really interesting test, guys. Really interesting learnings. And the last thing that I would mention here is that lower CPAs, starting with smaller budgets, actually have better CPLs. One thing to be very cognizant of is, as I mentioned, that $100 between $100 and $150 a day on each ad set. So if you go above that, if you go, oh, this is great, this is working, let's double down, right? Let's double, triple, whatever the budget, that your CPAs is going to go crazy high, right? It's going to go back into the learning phase. Sometimes it's going to go back into the learning phase and then it's going to try and learn again with this increased budget. Now, increased budget doesn't always mean increased results. In this particular example, okay, it was around the $100, $150 mark that we're getting really good CPAs. So what we did from there was increase 10, 15, 20% a day on top of that. So we didn't regress back into learning, and it meant that it kept the CPAs lower. But we did a test where we doubled the budget on something that was working and the CPAs went crazy high. So then we reverted back to a lower daily budget and slowly scaled. And this seemed to really work, guys. So I'd be very cognizant and very wary of the fact of saying, okay, this is great. The CPA is where it is at the moment. If I double the budget, we're going to get double the amount of leads at the same cost. But no, the cost is probably going to go up of those leads initially anyway in the learning phase. And this is something we also learned. So around $125 was a sweet spot for us to start a day on each ad set. And then we slowly scaled up 10, 15, 20% a day. So that was also a really interesting learning, guys, that you might also find really interesting. Now, with all this said and done, what is the formula? What is the winning strategy that we found out across all this testing, across messaging testing, creative testing, landing page testing, all these things? Okay, this is the winning formula that worked really well. I got a really good cost per CPA and lots of them. So landing page, Meta Instant Form. Using a Meta Instant Form instead of directing to the landing page, that gave us great results. I blurred out the states here, but a specific state targeting was the best and performed the best. The type of creatives that worked really well, the best was image ads and the UGC ad. Okay, they all kind of culminate together in this multimedia kind of asset group. So they were the two ad creators that performed the rest. So really, really interesting. Again, we're bringing these learnings back to the team, guys, so that when they're running campaigns like this again, they have they have all these learnings as a benchmark and they can build on it, right? So this is really, really interesting for them. And the last thing, guys, probably a thing that had the biggest impact, okay, was just switching the CTA a little bit, right? So we tested different variants of sign up for early access, all those things. Actually, sign up to the waitlist pretty much halved our CPAs. Okay, so little fine tweaks like this. When we did this, our CPA, or our cost per lead, basically halved. Okay, so the idea here is that somebody who does have interest, they might have 5-10% intent of using the service, right? And we're trying to gauge intent here. We're trying to gauge signals. So will somebody sign up to a wait list versus an early access more? And actually, the psychology around wait lists says that you only need 5-10% intent or interest to register for a wait list. Whereas, registering for early access, you really want that service more. So fine tweaking certain messaging like this, certain CTAs like this, join the wait list, sign up for the wait list, really dramatically enhanced and reduced our cost per lead. So that was also a really, really massive learning and something I highly recommend. If you're trying to gauge signal or intent on where to roll things out, which business aspect to extend out, utilize a waitlist feature to gauge the response of whether or not people are going to resonate with that, right? You can use a really simple waitlist. It doesn't mean that you have to build anything. You just say, hey, if you're interested in this, join the waitlist. And we haven't built anything, and then people can register for the waitlist, and then you can gauge, more people have joined this waitlist than this waitlist. Okay, there must be more demand for this, right? And that's basically what we started to build around this, about creating a waitlist system in each state so that people could register their interest and join a waitlist, so that when they do release and when they do launch the new product, there's already demand there. There's already an audience there, right? And we've identified the signals, and we identified that there is a target market for the business there. So guys, as a quick breakdown, this is the winning formula. So guys, hopefully that was useful. Hopefully that gives you a really good idea of what you need to do in order to maximize the effect of this. Thank you so much. Hopefully you learned something really interesting. Hey, thank you so much. And leave me a comment down below if you got any questions. And there's one last thing that I wanted to show you guys. Sorry that I'm on camera right now, but here is the projection for the cost per lead over the next few months. So what I was able to do is put a graph together. Obviously, I've taken out all of the sensitive information, so you're not actually able to see the data, but this is what we produce afterwards in order to see where the projection will go as time goes on. Okay, so we're able to put this trajectory line into the graph to do further projections on how we can lower and where the CPL can get lowered to and by when, right? So in the report, we can write something like, based on this CPL trend from the campaign, costs have been gradually declining at the average rate of X cents per week. If this trend continues, we project CPL could reach X dollars within 3 to 4 months, depending on your day range. We're able to put these calculations together, meaning that we can see and project where the cost per lead will go over time. That's it for today, guys. Hopefully that was useful. Hopefully now you have all the learnings and a really good idea as to how to test email lead generation for a business and how to get the best results with a certain budget. Okay, so hopefully that has given you a really nice breakdown. We looked at loads of different things, all of the different results, and hopefully now you have a really good understanding as to what you need to do if you have a healthcare startup and you're looking at email collection lead generation. Here are some of the learnings that we found implementing this for the client, and we are sharing it with you today. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for all the support. I appreciate every single one of you. I'm your boy Jerry the Ad Wizard. You can catch me on Instagram at Jerry Ad Wizard, on Twitter at Jerry Ad Wizard, on LinkedIn at Jerry Griffiths, at Jerry Dreadlocks, everywhere else. If you want to watch another case study on how the Ad Wizard team achieved 7 times ROAS on event ticket sales, okay, click this video over here. I've got a breakdown where we go through exactly like this one, the learnings and all the things that we did to achieve that. But I have nothing else, and you made it this far. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. And wherever you are in the world, I bid you peace and love and a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one.